We don't even have music on. Yes. YouTube picked up the stream. That's good, man. YouTube is doing an excellent job recently. Not gonna lie. Anyway, guys, it's been a long time that I was live. But, hey, business as usual. What are we gonna do? I'm gonna kill this screen, right? Am I leaking something? Probably not. How's everybody doing? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today's gonna be somewhat of another stream. We're gonna not do some coding stuff. We're gonna hang out, and I'm gonna give you this. I called it a masterclass, which maybe is. You will see. You will need to stick to the end here, right? I'm gonna give people a little bit more time to come in, to jump into the stream. In the meantime, what we can do is maybe I should actually reply on my own stream. What do you think, guys? Is that what we need to do? It feels weird without music, not gonna lie. But what's going on here? What is going on here, bros? How can I... Let me click on my own name, huh? Where did I post this thing? Where is this? Here. Let's quote this, bro. Let's quote this. What's going on? Wait. What's up? I'm live. Come and hang out. Or bad sex. For 69 years. I'm live. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to type. I'm live. Get in. Get in. Get in. That's what we're going to do. Get in, baby. Get in. Get involved. Get involved. Get involved. Exclamation mark. One is enough. Shit, I'm posting with fucking... That's the problem. I'm on a different account. What the hell's going on here? Discard the straight, bro. Can I do this? Look at that. Social media 101. Here, quote this guy. Boom. All right. What's going on here? Enki, what's up? Sonic PvP. How we doing, cook? I'm cooking. I'm the cook. I'm cooking like a madman. Did you put it in the Discord? No, actually not. Should we do that? Maybe we can, right? Maybe we can, actually. Let's do that. Let's put it in the Discord as well. In the meantime, people can join. This YouTube spoiled my history. You probably saw something like Sophie Rain leaked videos. Yeah, I'm sorry. Who's Sophie Rain, Anthony? Who's Sophie? You tell me, baby. You tell me. You tell me. I'm gonna copy this link here. How do we do this? Announcements? No, why not? Or team updates. Let's do it in here. It doesn't really matter. Not everyone. Everyone. I'm live. Giving some MMT alpha for beginners. Which you all are, innit? We have some pros, right? Beginners. Giving some MMT alpha for beginners. And community. Man, I'm getting old. I cannot see anymore. And the community Q&A. Q&A. Let's fucking go. Just go and click here. Just make some reactions. You know what I mean? Like, shit, this is not a good one. Like a king and a rocket, and just click it. What's going on here? Who is here? Frampo, my Italian boyfriend. Don't forget to put the link on stream. Yeah. Ashton Reeve in Discord beta most like next week. What's going on here? Where is Ashton Reeve? Who the hell is Ashton Reeve? Who is that? Ashton Lewis Reeve. Holy crap. All right. Yeah, so basically I'm in Discord all the time, right? And of course we're building Market Monkey. It's nice, MMT, because Market Monkey is a weird name. You know what I mean? That's why we call it MMT. I want to give it a complete other name, but we can't anymore because everybody knows MMT. So we're stuck in this. Yeah, it is what it is, guys. Hey. What I see all the time is people coming in from other platforms, or people coming into order flow or whatever. They come into MMT, and I see always the same questions, the same problems, and also the same mistakes. And I thought, man, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stream, and I'm going to go over a couple of things that I see that are most of the time people have problems with. Because one, they are not explained enough, or confused, or whatever, right? It's just we are all learning here, and I want to give you my thoughts on how things should behave, how you should behave on the system. You know what I mean? It's biased, but hey, it's what it is, right? So that's what we're going to talk about: setup, templates, and layouts, tick size stuff. Because tick size is that's a big problem, not gonna lie. Common order flow tools, liquidity heat map, liquidation heat map, some trading tips, and questions and answers. You're gonna ask me anything, you know what I mean? Except the D size, because yeah, that's prohibited. That's another stream. That's my OnlyFans. I can put the link in the description. Name is appropriate. Yeah, it is, but little did I know, right? That we're gonna build an 11K user platform. Little did I know. What's going on? Somebody is like, each time somebody likes the stream or follow me, it's like a message. How can I disable this sound? I gotta go somewhere in a couple of minutes. Will there be a VOD of the session? Yes, there will be. There will be. It will be recorded, and I'm gonna cut it out in small pieces as well. But you can watch the whole live stream here on YouTube. You know what I mean? I could make a video about this, but I don't like to make these videos. I want to be like, you know, mano a mano. You know what I mean? Like, if there is like, it needs to be prone to error. You know what I mean? A video is edited, and also it needs to be fresh from the flesh. You know what I mean? Flesh on flesh. That's what I tell to my girlfriend. My wife, actually. I cannot say girlfriend anymore because she's my wife. Should it be still available after live up? Yes. No worries, brothers. HFG, patron de Paris, aussi aujourd'hui parti avec les amis dans les community. Hey, rapping in French as well. All right, so guys, let's get started. I will stop from time to answer some questions, so feel free to dump them in the chat, no problem. And of course, at the end, we can do a little bit of a hangout as well, huh? So it's 1 September, everybody needs to go to school, so why not start this day with this a little bit of a schooling stream, you know what I mean? So I have MMT the GG. For the people that don't know, actually, you can actually go to MMT GG as well, which is the same thing as you go to marketmonkeyterminal.com, but it's like a Market Monkey, it's way too long. You know what I mean? We don't got time to type all that bullshit. MMTGG terminal. So if you basically refresh this thing, if you use MMT for new, you come here, right? This is the default layout, so to say, right? And basically, I'm gonna give you the best things that I do when from time to time I need to reset my configuration, especially in development. And the first thing I do is I go to this thingy here in the top. You cannot actually see that because, how are we gonna do this, huh? My face is in the way. My face is in the fucking way. How are we gonna, can I actually, God fucking damn it. I'm flying. Boom, let me do it in the corner. You know what I mean? We can, remind me that I need to change this. So in the corner here at the top, yes, here. You have this thing, the settings thing, very simple. The first thing I do is basically round decimals, use local time, and of course, this is a setting, use the right mouse button for 360 zoom. That's for in 2 minutes. Why? Because normally, if you use TradingView or something else, like EXO or something, right? The normal behavior of your chart is that you zoom in, right? You zoom in and you zoom out and you drag, you pan the chart, and then you do these things here and these things here, you know what I mean? And if you want to fit it, you can click auto fit. That's nice, but it's a bit annoying, especially if you want to navigate yourself in the charts. It's just like, if you want to see, you see it's like it's stretching out, and a lot of people have problems with that because they're not used to it, or they actually do not know that we have this 360 zoom. And standard, if you boot up MMT, standard, it's going to be the middle mouse button. I already hear you saying like, yeah, but I'm using a laptop. Exactly. And for that particular reason, you need to click the use right mouse button for the 360 zoom, right? Always do these three. There are only 3 settings. Click them all. You know what I mean? Because then you have this. You have, when you basically hold your right mouse, you have this. And that's amazing, right? Why is that amazing? Because you can zoom in, you see, you can drag, and you can basically just, you know what I mean? Like, Fingerspitzen. Like a real order flow trader, you're going to Fingerspitzen gefühl, you know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. Right, so what is this round decimals thingy, Anthony? Why is that? Well, it's very simple. If you don't do that, you're going to have this problem. Big numbers, right? And why is that important? That's for the footprints. I'm going to show you in a bit, right? The footprints, one of the order flow tools, very important. It's just going to be annoying, right? So that's why you're going to have these 3 settings, right? Because you don't need these decimals anyway, right? You know what I mean? All right, so the first thing that you're going to see in MMT is that it's very flexible. It's a very flexible system in terms of layout design. And that's a good thing, but it's also sometimes a bad thing, because if you give people the option to be very flexible, basically you can do whatever you want, yeah, some people are abusing this stuff, making like 100 of these widgets, and then they fit it into a screen with all problems that come with it, because each of these panels, each of these you can see, you can actually click it out, right? You see that? You can drag it out and you can move it, right? In the middle is going to make a tab. We're going to dock it to the left. Here, right? You can actually drag it out, dock it to the right. You know what I mean? So it's very flexible. You can move these things. It's actually very simple, you know what I mean? If you're a little bit of a gamer, if you ever touched Roblox or something, you're gonna, yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine, you know what I mean? But it's different, right? It's a bit different. For example, if I want to open up a new chart, it's very simple. Widget, new chart here. Let's take EAT, for example. Boom, you have an EAT chart right now here. And it's basically not docked, right? Some people are confused. They say, what the fuck is going on, Anthony? What is this thing? Well, yeah, you need to drag it wherever you like, right? For example, boom. Now we have 2 charts, you know what I mean? Let's kill the DOM, boom. And now we are in a bit of a trouble. Let's put this here like that. Voila. Whoops. 2 charts. You know what I mean? And you can make 4, you can make 5, you can make 20 charts. But do not be mistaken, each of these panels, right? It's very easy to add them, right? But there's where the problems come in. Some people have like 8 charts, but you need to understand that 8 of these heat maps, right? These heat maps here, they take memory. You know what I mean? They consume memory on your system. So if you have 8, 4, 6 of these things on your layout, yeah, that could be a problem from time to time. If you have a big machine or something, that's something different. But if you have a small Chromebook or something, that can be problematic. So that's why I always suggest to use the concept of layouts, and that's what we're gonna discuss right now. So in MMT, you have 2 concepts. You have the concepts of templates. Let me actually kill some chart because it's like too much for me, and volumes. Like, let's delete all this stuff. You see, there's always a problem as well. People do not know, like, how do I delete stuff? It's here. You know what I mean? If you hover the legend, it's a bit of the same as trading view. You see this garbage can. If you click that, the layer is gone. And if you click it, if you click this thing, if you click this, you hide it. You know what I mean? There is no eye icon because you just need to click it. It's straightforward, but also not. Some people miss it, and I can understand that. But now you know what I mean? So you can actually just delete these things. All right? Delete. Just hide them. Okay? Let's do the heat map. Let's do this away. So boom. So right now, I have this thing. And you're going to see, for example, I have these green and red candles, right? And of course, some people do not like that. That's why in MMT, you can configure whatever you like. So you can go to the settings thing, and then you're going to say, for example, I want to have a white thing, and I want to have, I don't know, like whatever, click the body. You can even have hollow candles. You can configure it whatever you like. The same thing like TradingView, you know the deal, right? That's pretty cool here, right? But let's say you have some bunch of other indicators stacked here, and you color them beautiful, right? And you open up a new widget, for example, right? For example, here you're going to open up Doge, right? Now you have these green candles again, right? And if you spend like 2 hours, and there are some people basically in the community that spend a lot of time making everything beautiful, and you make a new chart, you're in problem because you need to do everything from scratch. And that's a bit annoying. Yes, that's why we have the concept of a template, right? So you can basically, let me click this chart, right? And then I can go here into chart templates. And now I can actually say, hey, system, save me this thing, this chart. Templates are only for charts, widgets. Save this chart widget, everything and its configuration into a template, right? You do this, save as, you give save as, need save as, save as. For example, foo, create. So now you have this template, right? And you can actually click the other chart and basically load the template and load foo. And now you have the same thing. That's a template. That was magic, exactly, because it is. But you need to understand what that does, right? And that's pretty cool because you could also say like, hey, but I want to make a high time frame thing. I want to have a high time frame template. So you could say, okay, I'm going to go to 1 hour, right? The 1 hour here, right? And for example, I want to have, I don't know, like, is it going to save indicators actually? I don't actually know. Let's test. We have this cute little VWAP here. Look at him. Hello. You see? And then you can actually say, go back. If you click save as, you're gonna save it as a new one, but you can save to foo, right? And then you can actually load this thing back. I think foo, boom. And now you have a VWAP as well here. You see? So you can basically make a chart for footprints and everything you need, time frame, bin sizes, ticks per row actually, which we're gonna cover, and just save it as a template. And the next time you open up a new widget for another ticker or whatever, you can actually load that template back in. That's amazing in it. That's what it is. Is it 100% super good? I don't think so. There needs to be a couple of changes that needs to be made in the future. It's pretty powerful, but it's also there are troubles with it, right? But we're gonna filter these troubles out and make it way better, right? Templates, simple. Yes. Now we're gonna go to layouts, right? A template is only for the chart, okay? A layout is your whole screen. You need to think about the layout as maybe you can compare it with a workspace, but also not. But you can maybe. You know what I mean? A layout is actually like, okay, cool. Listen, I'm gonna have 2 charts here. ETH, Doge, and then I'm gonna basically add an order book in between. I don't know, BNB. This is the worst layout ever. But it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put the order book here in the middle, like this. I'm gonna say, I don't know, 1.1. This is good enough. You can actually change colors here as well, right? Did you know that? Something like this. Well, boom. This is my layout. Actually, let's open up this chart. Let's I don't know, we can do like a delta volume or something. You know what I mean? Boom, delta volume here, right? And you want to actually save this. You can go to here in the corner, right? And you can basically say, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. The thing is, I'm going to save this layout. So if I refresh this thing globally, you see, it loads the same layout, right? The thing is that there is no way to copy a layout. That's a problem, but we can actually get around with this, but it's always going to be complicated. If you want to make a new layout, right? This is your default layout, for example, the default layout. If you want to make a new one, you can say new layout here. You're going to call it, you never guessed it, foo, and you create this, and it's going to create a fresh screen for you. I understand we should have an option to basically duplicate an existing layout. That would make things a little bit easier. I note that for you. It's on the list. So we're going to make a new chart, for example, fart coin, you know what I mean? And then we're going to say add a new widget, trace or something. That's going to be super annoying because it's going to make sound, and I don't want that. Let's do it dumb or something. I mean, like this thing. Boom. And I'm going to actually save to my full layout. Now I can actually switch to my default layout, and I go back to my full layout. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Easy. Templates, pure for charts, colors, yada, 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 which you can apply on different widgets, on different chart widgets. Layouts, your whole screen. It saves literally everything. You know what I mean? You could basically do what you maybe did not know. A lot of people don't know that, is that you can actually dock a chart as a tab. You see this, right? This is basically Fartcoin. This tab is BNB. Fartcoin, BNB. Fartcoin, BNB. Before, recently, your layout was saved every 5 seconds. But right now, it's not anymore. Layout gets saved on special events. For example, if you change this, now it's going to save your layout. But it's not always going to save your layout for everything you do. So make sure. We're going to change the way layouts are being saved very soon, so you can have multiple tabs in your browser. We're not going to discuss this issue. Basically, OG users, they know what I'm talking about. We're going to change that so you can have multiple tabs open. But make sure that if you change something, you add an indicator or whatever, make sure before you go to the bathroom to take a shit, you basically save the layout just to be sure. All right? Cool. Templates, layouts, covered. All right, I'm going to drink because I'm already out of breath. This is the basics, okay? Are we going to get a recording? Yes, baby, you're going to get one. TRDR, XO, enough for me. Want to find something else? Anthony, MMT is great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's going to be even more better along the future, but we are a small team, and you know what I mean? We're doing our best. We're doing our best. We want to make it as good because you deserve that. You know what I mean? So that's the thing, all right? Layout templates. I hope that was clear. If there are questions, hey, feel free to jump into our Discord community. Always open. There are like very, 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 very helpful people. HFG, Iman, Frampo, Krolik, and all the boys. They're going to help you, and even me, and of course, our AI assistant, CapTrack. They will do that. Will there ever be data that we can look up a specific time period? You mean replayability or something like that? We have a lot of plans in the future. There's some cool stuff coming very soon. Q4 is going to be amazing. I see. Yes, we're gonna add like a complete backtesting engine, which gonna replay the whole market. That's planned. That was basically planned for in January, but. You know what I mean? That was actually my initial plan, was to make more proprietary tools for retail. Like, because I worked for exchanges, I worked for market makers, and I built these things in-house for these people, right? Visualization tools and all that stuff, aggregators, and all is bullshit that market makers use to do their analysis or to follow their algorithms, to follow the market to see if there are volatility spikes. Because once there is volatility, these guys are basically pulling their orders most of the time. And so I built these things, and I said, I think retail should have access to the same tools because they are using like these old, stuffy, how do you call it, dusty programs. It's time for these guys to give them something more real time, and that's basically why MMT was born. And it got picked up on Twitter, and yeah, we changed our direction into more of an order flow tool instead of a quant tool. You know what I mean? But we're gonna have these features very soon. All right, cool. What's on the list here? Templates and layouts. What is tick size? Very important. Tick size, it's like, for me, it's a second nature, and probably for a lot of you guys, it's also going to be second nature. But actually, that's not, because I see a lot of questions coming in. I was so flabbergasted because even people on Twitter, like big accounts, I was flabbergasted. I was a bit confused and. Because they couldn't understand why certain events happened on MMT, and it's all related to tick size. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make a clean chart here. We're going to delete these things. Sometimes what I do is, I deleted the wrong tab. Sometimes what I do is when I have this a clean chart, right, is basically save as, for example, clean, right? And I create this template here. The moment I open up a new widget, for example, a chart, I open up BTC, I'm gonna have the same fucking bullshit over again. I don't want that. Then I just load my clean thing, boom, and now I have a clean chart, right? That's what I do from time to time. Just a clean template, so it deletes all this crap. You know what I mean? I want to start from scratch. All right. Okay, so basically, tick size. Yes, let's open up something. Let's open up footprints. Let's open up a cluster, right? So the first time if you open up footprints, very simple, right? You just click this thing, and you go to cluster or profile, right? Clusters are basically rectangles. They are all rectangles, Anthony. What the fuck are you talking about? It's fine. Clusters are these boxes, and profiles are also boxes. But you know what I mean? The profile and the fucking thing, right? It's easy, right? I'm just a cook, guys. I'm just a cook. I'm being forced by our VCs to give this presentation, and I'm just a cook, you know, because yeah. All right, so you see footprints, and yeah, if you open this is weird, right? You don't see any numbers, and then you're gonna let me actually autofit here, right? And people are gonna zoom in, and you say, hey, look, what is this? MMT is garbage program. No, it's not garbage. This is the fucking smallest tick size on the planet. You're gonna see nothing, and then say, yeah, but on EXO I can see. Yeah, I know, but this is the raw tick size, raw bin sizes. Of course, you're not gonna see. How do you do that? Well, you remember these use right mouse button for 360 zoom. I can actually start zooming in here, which makes no fucking sense. Look at this candle. It's huge. It's larger than the fucking Mariana Trench. So this is not good. Why is that? Because we are. Let me here click this thing. Boom. Because we are on the 5-minute chart, and let's open up the settings here. What do we see? We see a tick size of 50. 50. That's small. Of course, we're not gonna see anything, right? That's why tick size is super important. So if we up the tick size, the bins will be bigger, right? And I'm gonna explain tick size for you. Let's do 200, for example. You see save, and if you go 200, you see if we boom. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Look at this, right? And you can use this to pinpoint. To basically, what do you want to see here? Up. Boom. Look at that. This is beautiful. Let us be honest. No auto fit. No, that's for the retail. We don't need that. We are professional traders. We use this zoom. You know what I mean? Look at that. Right? I'm personally not a big fan of the double column footprints. I always use the delta. I'm a delta boy. You know what I mean? I'm a delta. Look at this. Beautiful. Nice, all right? Man, that Flemish accent is thick as my... Yeah, I know, bro. It's also very funny because I didn't stream for a long time. Well, a long time. Not normally I stream like 2 times a week or something, or making YouTube videos, and right now I'm talking Flemish at home for so long. And you can see that I'm getting rusty, you know what I mean? I'm getting a little bit rusty. Individual candle. Krolik is here, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to have some alpha from, I think, a very respectable trader, you need to join the Discord and talk to Krolik. He's my bald friend from the other side of the planet. You know what I mean? He taught me Zen, by the way. And let us be honest. Do I not look relaxed? Huh? Where is tension? I don't see any tension here in the room. It's like all relaxed. And it was different. I know, it was different. I was sometimes a little bit of mean and a little bit of a sharp on the tongue sometimes. Sharp on the tongue, but that's because, you know what I mean, working 15 hours a day, having 2 kids and a fucking wife, that's basically all set up for complete burnout, isn't it? But that's not true. Thanks to Krolik, he taught me Zen, and right now I'm basically Zen. You know what I mean? Breathing all the time. Holy shit. All right, so, yes, tick size. So, even if people figured out that they can do this, right? What's going to happen is they go, for example, to 2 hour time frame. And now they're like, man, it's not working. Look at this. Yeah, but it's because the tick size stays the same, right? Your tick size, the height of your rows of your footprints, they are still here. they are still at 200, right? They are still at 200. And the higher your time frame, the larger your candles, the larger the price movement is going to be. It basically means that these bins are going to shrink, right? So each time frame, you change your time frame. It's very important. If you're an order flow trader, some people trade on the 1 minute, some people trade on the 5 minute, some people trade on the 15 minute, right? If you trade on the 1 hour, it's possible. Everything is possible because it's all fractional, but still, you need to change your tick size. Okay, I'm going to explain. What is tick size? What is tick size, Anthony? What is ticks per row, bin size, row height? What is that? It's very simple. Let's go to the whiteboard. It's basically every instrument, right? Anthony, what is an instrument? An instrument is basically a ticker or a symbol, right? In professional terms, right? They call that an instrument. BTC, USDT is an instrument. We call it a ticker or a symbol or whatever, right? But instrument. If you're basically on a family dinner and you're talking about crypto or TradeFi or whatever, you're gonna call instrument. You're gonna be the biggest man on the table. You know what I mean? I really think it's a weird naming, but hey, every ticker is gonna have on an exchange, right? On a market, they're gonna have a tick size. We're gonna call this tick size. Oh my goodness. We're going to call tick size, okay? And the tick size is basically the smallest increment. It's the smallest increment price can do up or down on that particular market. For example, correct me if I'm wrong. If you take Binance, it's actually very important, guys. I know it's very important to understand this. Because tick size is basically everything. Everything you see on your chart is going to be tick size based, right? Binance F, futures, perpetuals. Binance F, BTC, USDT is going to be a tick size, a TS of 0.1. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right? That basically means that if price moves up or down, if it moves just a little bit, it's the littlest bit. You have little, take more little, and take then the littlest. If that happens, it's always going to be in increments of 0.1. Okay? It's going to be 10. Hey, you're going to laugh, but Bitcoin was, back in the day, was $10. You know what I mean? Yeah, now it's 100K, but back in the day, it was 10. So let's go back into into nostalgic times where I didn't participate. It's going to be 10.1. It's going to go to the minimum increment, 10.2. It's never going to be from 10.1 to 10.015. I was never good at math. It's never going to do that. It's always going to be 10.1, 10.2, 9.8, 8.6, 6.9, baby. 6.9. Possible. Okay, some exchanges, markets. For example, I don't know, I think Coinbase, correct me if I'm wrong, it's just like the top of my head. I think Coinbase has a tick size 0.01 for BTC. Correct me if I'm wrong, actually, to be honest. I don't know. Where's Coinbase? Where's Coinbase, bro? Here. Pingu. Yeah. Coinbase is 0.01, and that's a problematic problem. Why? Because now your bin sizes are basically disappeared. People, it's a bug, look at that, MMTs is not good. C'est quoi ça ici, monsieur? C'est pas normal. It's your bin, it's your tick size. And normally, I know C2M basically always said, Anthony, nice platform, but you need to use a tick size multiplier, right? And a tick size multiplier is basically something that multiplies your tick size. Isn't that amazing? Why? Because to prevent this, right? Because right now it's 200. Right? And you're gonna have 2,000 here. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So you can have a multiplier, a tick size multiplier, which I'm probably gonna add very soon. You're gonna say like, hey, listen, all my tick sizes, multiply them by 2, multiply them by 10, to prevent you to fill in these big tick sizes here, which I don't actually care to fill these big numbers in. I like big numbers, you know what I mean, especially on the bank account. But, that's it. Okay, tick size, very important. So what did we learn? Smallest increment. So what does that mean, ticks per row, right? So it's very simple, right? Because if you go to MMT, you're going to say tick size. Actually, this is the worst naming ever done on a platform. Why did nobody complain about this? This should be ticks per row, in my opinion. Is it everywhere the same thing? Look at this. Ticks per row. That's actually what it needs to be. Ticks per row. How many ticks of 0.1 are going to have per row? That's basically what this means. So can somebody note? Cap track. Notice. Footprints. Tick size not good. Ticks per row is what the naming needs to be. You see. Okay, cool. So, yes. So what do we do? What do we mean with TPR? I'm going to call it TPR. Ticks per row. TPR. How many ticks per row? So let's say we're going to have 200 ticks per row. That basically means that we're going to have 200 times 0.1, right? For Binance, BTC USDT futures. For Coinbase, that's going to be 200 times 0.01. So what do we do here? Each time, so you know that the market footprints or order flow tools are basically volume-based, market volume-based, right? That basically people that market buyers. Press the button and they buy. That's what this is, right? So what's happened is each time, we're going to make a bin, right? We're going to make footprint bins, right? 100, 150, 200, right? Okay. So each time somebody buys on a price, for example, 101, we need to classify for, I don't know, guys, 10 Bitcoin or something, right? The size, price, and size. Somebody buys at price 101 with size 10. We need to classify. We need to add that volume somewhere, right? Why? Because if we don't do that, you're going to have invisible bins. You're going to have these small bins. You need to go very, very, very deep into the trenches to find what's going on. It's also a lot of noise, right? So we need to aggregate. We need to group the sizes at prices. Okay? People market buy, and we're going to basically divide that. 198. Put them in here. That's what's happening. We categorize these into prices. We aggregate them, right? And that's basically what you see here. Knowing that, let's go back to Binance F, huh? Why? I don't know. It's just good. You see, now it's super big, right? That's what she said. I swear to God. Recently. So, yeah. You see what I mean? All these market buyers or sellers, we group them into these bins, and they're basically sizes, right? This is in coin. Basically means this is Bitcoins. 145 Bitcoins. If we change this to USD, $60 million, baby. You know, that's very simple. If you want to see in USD or you want to see in coin, you can choose. You know what I mean? That's tick size. Anthony, the biggest question. Okay, nice, man. I didn't understand anything. Just tell me, what's the configuration? Well, that's depending on the glasses you have on your eyes. It doesn't actually really matter. And this is a very controversial saying. In my opinion, tick size doesn't really matter too much, as long as it makes sense. That's weird, isn't it? And you still don't know, right? Because you don't even know what makes sense. I don't even know what makes sense. But what I want to say is that the tick size makes sense if it's visually making sense on your screen. And what do I mean by that? For example, if I'm trading here, right, and I do something like this, like, why is this? Let's go back to, we are in the 2 hours. Footprints on the 2 hours can make sense if you want to map out levels. I can talk about this on future videos, right? But in my opinion, using footprints above a 50-minute chart makes no sense unless you're going to map out levels, right? And what do I mean by that? You could go to even to a daily chart, make a decent tick size, get some pucks from the point of controls from your footprints, and you can use that as daily levels and previous day levels, right? And then go back into the 5 minute, and then you have these footprint pucks on the higher time frame. That's what you could do. But if you really wanna investigate order flow to find an entry or to find some reversal, you wanna catch a knife, then you go, in my opinion, 5 to 1 minute, 3 minutes. We don't have that yet. You know what I mean? That's me. Like, I'm not a professional trader, so why the hell do you even listen to me? You know. 1 minute. All right. So this makes no sense. You know what I mean? If this makes sense to you, you're never gonna make it, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a good bin size. Let's try a 100, for example. Well, 100 could make sense. You know what I mean? This could perfectly make sense. On a 1 minute chart. If you go to a 5 minute, for example, for me this is already, it could make sense, but for it's my bins, my tick size most of the time 200 is what I use from time to time, like 200. Right, depends. You can go lower. The lower you go, the more detailed you're gonna be, the more accurate it's gonna be, but also the more noise. You know what I mean? Noise. Not nice, but noise. And the higher you're gonna go, it's the more overview you're gonna have, the less noise, but it's like you miss the concept of detail, right? If it visually makes sense, for me, this visually makes a lot of sense, right? But I'm gonna give you the best tip. So, and that basically works for everything, but this is the best tip. If you use order flow, right? There are a lot of order flow tools. For example, we're gonna have the VPSV. Where is this thing? Yeah, the VPSV, visible profile session volume. I think daily is fine. I'm thinking what I'm gonna do here. I make it a little bit smaller, I guess. So. It's important that if you use these tools, in my opinion, let's go to the 15-minute. Why? Because it's going to make a little bit more visually sense for what I'm trying to explain here, right? You see, the volumes are a bit better, right? So if you're investigating this order flow wise, right, what you want to do is you want to make sure that every order flow tool you have open on your chart has the same tick size. It's very important, and it's actually my job. It's MMT's job to make that easy for you, and we don't have that. It's basically a syncing bin size across all order flow tools. For example, you could say, okay, for BTC, I want to have 250 ticks per row. And every order flow tool should have the same ticks per row. Why? Because if you want to map out order flow, if you want to see the puck lines, the value area highs, the lows, the point of controls, they are all bin based. So it should make super much sense for you to use the same bin sizes, ticks per row, right? For example, let's do a little bit higher, 400, for example. Why? Because then we can see numbers. And then we do the same thing here. We do the same 400. So right now, you're going to see that these bins here, right? Look, they line up. They have the same ticks per row. So that basically means that all the calculations, all the aggregations of the market volume are basically falling into the same bins on this particular instrument market, right? So that also means that these pucks, right, the naked extended pucks, they are basically going to nicely line up with the center of your bins. So that basically means that you're going to have a perfect order flow setting for this, right? If you want to use that. So this is for the VPSV. For a very important tool that you can use is the heat map as well, right? I hope this makes a little bit more sense here. Where are we in the thing? What is tick size? Is this clear for everybody? Is it also clear that there is no such thing as the correct tick size? Like, hey, 200 ticks per row is the bread and butter for Bitcoin on Binance futures. No, it's not, in my opinion. It's completely not. As long, in my opinion, it's important to keep all your order flow tools in the same tick size, ticks per row. Because it makes sense. Everything is going to line up, right? Yeah. Only tick size, money increment updates this week. Thanks, Anthony. Good alpha. All right. Fib to save the changes. I know, but the Fib should save. Is it not saving the Fibonacci? We're going to test. We're going to test later on the Fibonacci. We also have drawing tools, guys. Very simple. Fibonacci. Up your way to rectness. Fibonacci is going to be... We're going to cover Fibonacci. We're going to cover Fibonacci in the trading tips. Because I'm a trading guru. Yeah, so... The question is still not answered, right? What is the best tick size to use? You need to follow the heat map, in my opinion. Oh my! For example, I'm going to open up the heat map here. Let's go to 5 minutes actually. Yes, please load. Yes, so you can see the heat map. Look, you see the heat map. Actually, let's go to the 1 minute, by the way. Okay, so now we have these heat map bins. Can we actually use Viridis or Viridis not plasma? That's actually not good. I like to use thingy, amber glow, right? Amber glow. Okay, so you see the heat map bins are basically you can see, right, 70 to 80. First of all, what is the heat map? The heat map is basically a snapshot of the order book every candle, right? On the 1 minute time frame, it's going to be a snapshot of the order book every 1 minute, okay? On the 5 minute chart, it's going to be a snapshot of the order book every 5 minutes, and so on. It's the liquidity heat map. It's the order book heat map. Nothing special. Binned, based, aggregated, based on the ticks per row. What is a ticks per row for the heat map? Because you cannot change that. And the problem is it's very computational intensive, so that's why you cannot change it. It's $10, right? And that should basically be, I don't have no clue. That should basically be, is it 200? Or it's probably gonna be, no, it's not. Yeah, it's 50. It's 50, Anthony. It's 100% 50, bro. It's 100% 50. It's not. Is it 100 then? I'm confused. Let me open up another color scheme. My math's so bad. Viridis. Can't even see it. It's not. Where is? How can I wait? No. I know it's 100. It's 100. Yeah, it's 100, bro. Yes. Quick math. All right. So, in my opinion, if you're on MMT and you're doing order flow with footprints, and you're using the heat map, which you always should, in my opinion, because you're going to see what's in order books and what's get filled. It's very important to see, to catch a reversal, yes or not. You know what I mean? Is it absorption? Is it absorption? Is it not? It's going to be completely filled. We go higher, then we are in trouble. If it's reaching a liquidity wall and it's basically it's not filling it completely, a reversal can come in, right? These things to catch these range reversals, basically. That's what small reversals here and there. You know what I mean? So what is the best tick size, guys? In my opinion, you just follow the heat map 100 on the 1 minute chart, because then everything is going to make sense and you're going to perfectly see if there's something weird going on. I don't know. Yeah, we cannot, price is not dipping into this, but then you can actually see if the footprint comes in here, you're going to see if it filled this 23 million Bitcoins, you know what I mean? And you can perfectly see that because they match 100%. That's what I would do if I was you. You know what I mean? And it makes visually sense as well, right? If you zoom in, look at that. You're going to have these candles. Look, you have a bit of history. You can clearly see what's going on. You have your heat map. All set up for success. You know what I mean? All right? The heat map as well. So basically, what is the heat map? The heat map is the order book, right? So basically this thing, if we open up the order book, right? We could do a DOM. Actually, to be honest, let's open up a DOM. The depth of market, which is basically a never-ending footprint, right? BTC. What is a DOM? The DOM is a never-ending footprint. Let me actually do this. Let me do this. Aggregate like that. Let me do this. If you want to have a DOM, what I always do, click auto center. You know what I mean? Pick something decent, 10. Or basically make the same bins, right? Now it's all the same bin, right? 80 to 90. This is the same thing. 10 bin size here. right? Bin size of $10 here, bin size of $10 for the footprints, bin size of $10 for the DOM. If you use something else, you never guessed it. What's you gonna use? $10 bin size. You know what I mean? All the same. So you have a unified experience. If you're still not doing this, you're doing it wrong, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So the DOM, never-ending footprint, you're going to see this later on here, why this is a never-ending footprint. You can reset your footprint if you click reset, boom. Now it's reset. You know what I mean? All right. Good. 150 I use on BTC, 250 for higher time frames. Yes, makes a lot of sense. 150, this is in this case 100 because I like to, like I said before, I think it should always match the heat map, in my opinion. But that's my opinion, you know what I mean? All right. What are good settings for the heat map? Big question, right? There aren't. What are the most common problems with the heat map? Most common problems is that users going to basically drag the slider, right? And they're gonna visually make it sense, like okay, like this, and then we're gonna cut down some noise. I mean, this is already too much in my opinion. Well, cool. Now we're gonna see, right? Now we're gonna clearly see. Okay, we have big liquidity here sitting at 109. We have some of a decent size, 26 million, 24 million sitting at 108 and at a little bit lower. You know what I mean? So you can also see that price is nicely moving into, arranging into that in between and all that stuff. Good. The problem is the moment you're going to change time frames, right? It's different. The moment you're going to change stickers, if I change to ETH, for example, but I think I've recently fixed it somewhat. Well, it's not fixable because it's not a bug. If I go to ETH, for example, you see, ETH, Anthony, I just configured my heatmap so beautiful. What the hell's going on? MMT is garbage. It's nicht gut. C'est quoi ça? Please help us. There's a problem, guys. You need to understand that I know what you want. You want it to save, and it's always going to be the same. It's always going to have a nice representation of what you configured, but we can't. It's just impossible. Why? Because the heat map works based on sizes, right? Trading is actually very simple, right? Trading is all based on size at a certain price. That's it. And then you have If I say this, you only have two participants in the market, then of course Marty and Co, they're gonna come here with their pitchfork. It's not true. In my opinion, two participants. You have the market, people that buy market, and people that basically makers and takers. Simple as that. You know what I mean? People that place market orders and people that place limit orders. Simply explained. But I'm a simple man. That's why I also won the Nobel Prize for simplification. You know what I mean? But I understand. The more I'm in the space here. I'm here for I think 8 years. You can verify my Twitter. Check my first tweet about crypto. It's like 2017 or something. You know what I mean? People didn't talk about passive buyers and active buyers and all these concepts. But the thing is that the longer we are in the space, the more people are learning, and the more complex these influencers need to be. Because if they're not going into complexity, they're not going to sell anymore. It makes a lot of sense, right? That's a good technique because at a certain point of time, people are basically educated, right? Support and resistance. You know what I mean? Fibonacci retracements and now it's absorption and passive buyers and all this crazy stuff. That basically is a simple thing. It's always volume and price. You know what I mean? I have no clue what's going on anymore. I'm basically, my HJG brought me into a space. I don't know it existed. What are we actually explaining? Oh yeah, so the heat map. The heat map is basically color graded, right? You can see this, right? It's basically a color grading scale. All right, I clicked off HD, it's a bug. Shh. And we basically map a maximum size, maximum BTC with the minimum BTC, right? Minimum BTC, right? So if you, this is of course ETH, I know. Let's go back to BTC then, to make it, because people are gonna pitchfork. Yeah, you're on ETH, you're talking about BTC, you bastard, you scammer, you're scamming us. So right now what we're saying is, okay, we divided this color scheme, map this thing is actually very important to understand, is a very important concept, because this concept happens for basically also liquidity maps and on different platforms. It basically, understanding how it's made, understanding what it does, is going to technically make you a better trader. It maps from 0.1. Why not 0? Because 0 is nothingness. Right? 0.1, because colors, these color map algorithms, they don't work with 0. You cannot, 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times 0, 0 is 0. You know what I mean? It's nothing. So 0.1, you know? It's going from 0.1 to the maximum size of BTC that we found. 793. What is that number? What do you think that number is? 793. BTCs. That's a lot of BTC in it. That's the largest order. That's the largest block, the largest size of block we could find in the history we fetched from the server. And then we have 0.1. Okay. Today you're giving away SFN. Today you give away SFN. What's that? What does that mean? Well, it's be recorded. It is recorded, bro. When this stream ends, you can rewatch this with your tissues as many times you want. Okay. So we scale our color between these two things, right? Okay. Purple at the 0.1, bright and yellow at 793. And that's why we don't see anything here. Why? Because these orders are hidden, right? They are most of the here is the culprit. The culprit is here, you know what I mean? Like, look at this guy. This is this thing, right? And it's probably way higher or lower. It's somewhere, you know what I mean? Maybe it's this motherfucker here. 77. But yeah. Whoa. We are in coin. We are in USD. Boom, coin. Let's find them back. Yeah, I know. Look at this. Try this Kyotoka or something. You know what I mean? Try it. You can't. It's only on MMT. It's smooth as fuck. Here. This should be the 700 thing. You see? 794. This is the highest wall we could find in the history. Sitting at 116. Yeah, that's easy, yeah? Placing this liquidity so high, nobody's going to touch it. Hey, I can do that as well, right? I can put a couple millions at that level. I'm making the markets, you know what I mean? I put it so high, nobody's going to touch it. And then I'm going to say, hey, guys, I'm making the market on Bitcoin. Huh? Everybody can do this, bro. Come on, man. Put it lower. Yes. Okay. So we're scaling this color. The thing is that the moment you're gonna drag your slider, right, and you're gonna move it down, you're basically not gonna scale against this number anymore, right? You're gonna say, hey, okay, cool, that's nice. This order is in Valhalla, in Oblivion. I need to make sure my grading is more around my price. I need to make sure the grading, the visually makes more sense for me, more around the area I'm trading in, which is basically the price level, you know what I mean? Because if you're not trading in the price level, I don't know what you're doing, you know? So you scale it down, you scale this order down, and of course you scale the min size up, because if you scale the min size up, it's going to basically remove the sizes that's sitting below there, so you don't have the noise. You know what I mean? Nobody cares about 0.2 BTC, you know? Maybe in 10 years, but not now, right? So now you only have this range left, right? And that's the range that basically is here. Like that. Boom. Now we have this range here, right? This makes sense for us. Now it makes sense. What's the correct setting? There is none. There really is none. And of course, I'm an experienced BTC trader. I know where the good size is the 5100, for example. I think that I use 5100. From time to time, I try to use 5100, but this is weird suddenly. I don't know what it is. Or 5200. Could use something like that. That's sometimes what I do, right? But don't ask me what the best, this is not even a good setting, you know what I mean? It's like, don't even listen to me, you know? Like, it needs to make visually sense. And that's where the problem comes in. Why? Because you could say, what am I clicking always this HT? You could say like, this is not a big order. This is not a big wall, right? Is this a big wall? What is this? Let's make it USD 30 million. That's decent size, right? But does it look decent? No, it doesn't look decent. So I'm going to do this. Now it's starting to look decent, right? So now it's a big wall. It's the biggest wall, right? This is an insane big wall, or not? Or is it? And that's where a lot of beginner traders have problems with, is that they see that on a screenshot on the internet and say, "Wow, look at this! This is insane! Wow, it's resistance." No, it's the same thing. Well, this is annoying bug here. And luckily, we are as fast that nobody notice it. But you see, it's 30 million heat, and it's going to stay 30 million heat. The colors just changed because you manually, basically artificially, made it look that it's a bigger size, but actually it's not, right? Because it's visually just making sense for you. It needs to be visually making sense, you know. And it's the same thing with the liquidity heat map, which we're going to talk about very soon, because people say, yeah, but it doesn't match with the others, and it doesn't do this, and doesn't. Yeah, I know. Because everybody grades his liquidity map the way he wants, the way it makes sense for him, you know. And we at MMT, we give you the complete option of bin sizes, but we're going to talk about that for the liquidity heat map, which makes another problem, right? That's a heat map. So what's the best setting? There is none. There really is no best setting for the heat map, because the heat map stays the heat map. The heat map sizes stay 11 million no matter what you do, right? It's just the colors change, and they need to make sense for you, right? For me, this is already making sense because I know this is decent, and this is kind of, it is liquidity, and all the rest I filter out, you know? Okay, makes sense. So what's the problem with the other instruments then? Well, the problem is that if you save this setting, because people wanted to save this setting, they were begging me, they were sending like death threats, like, we want to save this, right? They want to save these settings. Okay, that's good, but tomorrow, or maybe in an hour, or in 5 minutes, this 793 is not 793 anymore. Maybe there is a bigger order coming in, that's 900. And your whole color scale is fucked up again. Giving you again other colors, because we have a bigger max, giving you the false illusion compared to your previous watch screenshot. 1 hour later, it looks different, and you're going to be freaking out, but it's because there is a bigger order. There's a big boy. Somebody added or whatever. I don't know. We're placing these orders, bro. 900. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Now you can see the problem, right? 900 is BTC. This is Bitcoins. Ethereum has way more, right? Ethereum does not. The value of Ethereum, it's going to be 20k Ethereum or something, right? So if you save these settings, they're not going to work for another ticker. You know what I mean? That's why they need to be resetted. And that's why each time you open up the heat map, I don't really care about the saved settings. I just get the heat map here. Okay, cool. We are here. I just do this. I drag it a bit more like this. Boom. And I'm already done with my settings. I'm already complete. I don't need to see more, right? If I go deeper into the footprints and I want to trade, okay, fine. Then I can actually go back here to the slider and give me some more room to work with, right? Now I can see this again. It's just a small thingy. All right. That's how I use the heat maps. All right. HR wants to talk you after stream. All right. So that's that. That's the heat map. Very important for the heat map. Don't take it Don't take the heat map for granted. So what do I mean by that? It's like, it's not because there is some big order, right? That this is going to be a wall that is always going to be there, right? So how market makers work is that they are basically volatility. They are basically like stable hosts. And what is a stable host? Stable host basically like me. I like stability in my life. You know what I mean? I don't like these weird circumstances. Tomorrow I want to have this stable life. No surprises. The same thing with these market makers. They just want to basically nicely place orders in a nice way, right? They want to have a tight straddle, or whatever you call that. a tight range, and they want to basically just quote bid and ask. They want to quote that. And the moment there is a lot of volatility, that's the moment. The moment, most of the time, these guys are going to pull orders as well. They're going to pull their orders because they don't like that. Or they're going to go wider. The guy's going to go wider. They're quoting wider. They don't like that. They want to quote tight, not wider. But that's what they do when volatility rises. So that's why levels such as the previous day high, previous day low, weekly highs, weekly lows, high of the day, low of the day. These levels are very important reaction levels because that's where also in this. You don't need to believe me. This is what I know. This is real. This is exactly how they do it, right? This is they don't hunt you. These guys, they don't do anything, right? There is no such thing as I'm gonna look for stop hunts and sweeping. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. They just if these levels are being prices trading against these important levels, previous day highs, and all that stuff, most of the time they just pull orders away. Hey, call a couple of them. Do me a favor, call a couple of them and ask them. That's what happens. Or if they need to go higher, right? They like stability. They don't like volatility, right? And you should do too, in my opinion, if you want to be a good trader, want to be a very predictable trader where you can really, really measure your strategies, where you can really measure progress. You should trade in as much range as you want and try to avoid volatility, because volatility is unpredictable and is good for these gamblers that have a life cycle of 6 months. You know what I mean? Don't take these orders for granted. It's not because here is like 40 that it's suddenly that this is going to be support. That's not true. How do we know that? What can be interested in here? How can we use the heat map? Well, we can actually use the heat map. What the hell? What are they doing with the scholar scheme, bro? What's going on? How do I drag this thing? It's basically when you have the footprints on top of that. If you have a footprint. This is the worst. Actually, to be honest, I have a brush. Here. So if you have a footprint, bro, I have a brush. That's insane, right? You can see if this order, if it's going to be filled or not, right? You can clearly know it based on the footprint. If the footprint shows you. You can know if it's filled, and if this is not even filled, and you see like this wick or something here, that basically means that there is not enough volume. It's getting completely absorbed, and that could basically be a sign of some kind of a reversal. It could be especially if you have, for example, like a volume profile open, and you can see that it's close to very high and low or such. It could be a perfect way to reverse the range. You know what I mean? These things, right? But that's way too in depth. I don't wanna go into that. That's how the heat map can be used, right? Because otherwise, what people did way before heat maps were invented, people were checking the order book or the DOM, right? They were checking order books or the DOM to see like, hey, I have a footprint here at this level. What's going on here? What's going on in the order book? And it was annoying, right? Because things are moving rapidly and it's just annoying, right? That's why the heat map gives you a way better visual representation of what's going on. I cannot show it to you because price is just like it's ranging, it's column. I cannot. If, for example, right, you can, like these things, you can clearly see what's happening with these orders and all that stuff based on your footprints, right? But this, okay, that's that. Now we have a bunch of these annoying brushes. What you can do is open up the drawing tools, click this thing here, and then you can actually just delete all your brush. I deleted the heat map as well. No big of a deal. You can bring it back like that. All right. The heat map. Are there any questions about the heat map, man? This way they can test the liquidity heat map and the HD option before deciding to continue. But is it possible to set up a 7-day trial on the website where the user enters their debit card details and a small charge is deducted to activate the trial? This way they can test the liquidity heat map and the HD option before deciding to continue. Yeah, but the thing is that I understand that. You make a good point. But the thing is that the difference between the non-HD heat map, which basically loads like a motherfucker. That's crazy. Look at that. Whoop. The thing is that there is no difference, right? A heat map is a heat map, right? So basically, if you have this heat map or you have the HD heat map, it's the exact same. It's just smaller bint, right? It's smaller bint. You could say, yeah, but other platforms have maybe a smaller bin. Like I think they have not a smaller bin, but that makes no sense. This bin makes no sense. It's too small. It's too small of a bin, in my opinion. I think 10 is perfect. 5 is like, maybe 5 could be good if the price was lower. If BTC was trading way low, like 50K or something. No, if BTC was trading higher, I mean. I'm sorry, right? This is fine, in my opinion. There is no difference between HD and non-HD. It's just the bin size, right? The map behaves the same thing, right? The map behaves the same thing. The smoothness, the premium feel, the customizability of MMT is just like, you know what I mean? Today's ping day, because a little pink is nice, you know? So that's the thing. Pros can aggregate the heat map, right? Pros can just aggregate everything, boom, aggregate the whole shebang. Now we have a complete aggregated heat map over 13 exchanges, right? That's nice, but what's the difference? What's there to test? You know, it's the same heat map as non-HD. It's the same as HD. It's just like smaller bint and aggregated. You know? That's why we don't do it, because we give a lot away for free. We give a lot of premium fastness, snappiness away for free. It's just like the number of indicators, the number of widgets you can add, TPO and some other indicators that are paid. But in my opinion, guys, I'm going to be completely honest, right? So you need to understand that we cannot live without asking for a price. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. We are a business, we are a startup, we need to charge. That's normal, right? And I agree that money is money for you. I completely agree. But you need to be honest. You get a very snappy product that's getting developed day by day. We do releases every week. So you're not only buying into the product for usability, to use, you're also buying into support. You're buying in to be a part of something great. If we continue on this pace, if we and the team, Cap, me and Ash, Lewis, Reef, if we continue on this elan and we can hire some nice guys, maybe even from the community, and we can scale it, we can build a very good product where you can be a part of, where you can have supported, you know? And in return for your money, which is not that much, it's like $280 a year. What's that? What is $280 in a year? It's nothing. I mean, you're a good trader. I know that. You have your good days. This should basically pay it back in just a couple of days trading. You know what I mean? Even not. It's like one trade for me, like boom, chakalak, and you make like 500K. You know what I mean? Easy peasy. 500K, $500. 500K. So you need to see it like that. Okay? Liquidity heat maps. Any questions about the normal heat maps? So I know that in MMT, we have good stuff. Right? We are fast. We are snappy. You can do whatever you want in this thing. The scripting is going to be amazing. But not everything is like pinpoint polished, right? If you open up a TPO chart, for example, right? I'm going to delete the heat map. It makes no sense to have this aggregated heat map here. If you open up the TPO, it's a good TPO. But is it a finished TPO? No, because why? You can merge and all that stuff. It works snappy, expanding. It's amazing. You can change whatever you want. You can change I'm sitting in this thing. You can change the weekly, monthly TPOs. But where are the session TPOs, like Asian session? they are not there. Saving composites is not there. So there is a little bit of polish that's missing, but we try to build some futures pretty good. We're going to give you a TPO that's very performant, that's very fast, that's very pleasing to work with. Completely, I'm sitting stuck here in these things, where you can basically just give you all these cool options like color gradient TPOs. You can make the most beautiful charts you can post on your Twitter account to basically impress girls. And we try to basically do that. We try to build all these futures as fast as possible, good enough for you to use. Instead of basically focusing on TPO for 6 months and build the best TPO ever made. Now your TPO can shit gold. No, you know what I mean? We need to make the trade-off, right? We want to give you scripting. We want to give you everything you need. But you need to understand that the revisit of tools we already created will happen. We do that from time to time, right? I'm revisiting the footprints, then we revisit this. We keep adding stuff, and then we revisit and polish. Adding stuff, and we revisit. This is this cycle that we are trying to do to basically get a lot of shit done, but also make sure we polish along the way. That's basically our approach, and it works very well, right? That's what we do. Always with performance in mind. There are a lot of good tools out there, but let us be honest, MMT is the fastest. It's the most snappiest, right? Because I took the risk of building this and wasn't. Anyway, rewrite and Rust. Nah. Okay, liquidity heat maps. What are liquidity heat maps? Liquidation heat maps. Liquidation heat map. I understand what you're gonna say. Anthony, this looks not like the liquidation heat maps we see everywhere else. I know, it's because we gave you a lot of customizability on these things. And I'm gonna teach you how to build beautiful liquidation heat maps that make sense, right? Because look at the way that I look let us be honest, my liquidation heat maps, they look gorgeous. They look too, you know what I mean? They have swag. And I post them all the time. Look, I make swag posts. Let's be honest. I make a swaggy. They call me swagger. Look at this. Oh! It's the same. Look. How do we do that? I already teach you the concept of sizes, right? And that's the same thing with liquidation heat maps, right? Liquidation heat maps are basically not actually only liquidations. It's very hard to explain. So let's keep it at the word liquidations before Marty and co are coming in with pitchforks and these paintball guns shooting on my window here, and I need to clean the whole night. We don't want that, right? Okay, so this looks terrible. I know. How do we fix that? Well, the thing is that if we open up the settings here, right, we're going to have some color maps available, right? And the first thing we're going to notice, again, because this is order flow, everything involves volume at the size, volume at a price. Volume at a price is the only thing you need to understand. Volume at price. That's basically the whole market. The same thing is here. We have some volumes that needs to be binned at a certain price. And this basically means, in order flow terms, we're going to have a ticks per row, right? And this ticks per row is basically something that the system picks for you to basically make sure your PC doesn't explode in your face. Right? Because if you take one tick per row, these lines are becoming invisible, right? And that's why people think it's strange because they see way higher tick sizes on, for example, trading different or coin gloss or something else, right? They see it differently because these guys are using big blocks because they're using trading view charts to render, and they cannot go as in depth as we are. These are good platforms, right? Trading different. Coin gloss, nothing wrong with these guys, right? Not telling that, right? This is just a bit different. We can go in super depth with that. If you do not want that, Well, the only thing you need to do is you pick a bigger tick size. And you can go very big in here. That's what she said as well. For example, 2K. Actually, that's a little bit too big. And that's what also she said. This, right? Okay, now what's going to happen is that there is no concept of liquidity from the past 24 hours. Right? What's happening here is that we're going to take in, and if you do not want to have this extended thing, you just do this, and okay? If this is better for you, you can click extended or not. Each time we're going to drag, we're going to fetch more candles, we're going to fetch more data from the server, right? And it's basically going to recompute the whole system. It's going to recompute the whole grading here, right? And this is a very, very important lesson I'm going to teach you, and it basically reflects for all platforms, and it's very important so you are not making wrong assumptions of what's going to happen in the market, right? And it's the same thing that I explained with the heat maps. It's the min and the max. Because if I drag this here, it feels like the market is basically going to fucking explode, that it's never exploded before. Blood is on the streets. There is so many blood on the streets that the blood is already even on your fucking screen. That's what's showing here. But that's not the case. That's just because we are manipulating this to look good, right? So once we dragged a bit more in history, we're going to fetch more data, right? And I don't really like this color map. It's the worst. I don't even know why I made this. Let's plasma is the way to go, right? So now you can see what's going to happen is that where's the rest of this thing? That's better, right? So now we can actually configure. We can configure liquidation levels, and it's basically leverages, right? Each leverage is basically going to offset potential. It's going to offset potential liquidity sitting at a certain level based on proprietary levels we hard-coded. That's how it is, right? And that's why it sometimes makes it different from platform to platform. 25x is not always 25x on the same of these platforms, right? It could be different. Maybe 25x has another offset on trading different, another offset on CoinGlass. We don't know, right? Everybody does what he wants. But in the gross of schemes, these platforms should line up. The only thing what will not line up all the time is the colors, and that's what I'm going to explain. So first of all, we can take 100, we can take all these things in, and you see the moment you're going to take extra leverages in, these things are going to change, right? It's going to fuck up your liquidation map. That's why it's very important that I made this video here, because we need to make sure that we drag this, in my opinion, and I'm might going to change it. This should always be at the maximum, because that's going to give you the perfect color grade. You know what I mean? The moment you're going to drag this yourself, which we make possible, remember, where is this thing? Here. The moment you're going to basically start manipulating the max size, you're basically going to lie to yourself, in my opinion. And I do it from time to time, but it's because I know what it does. And I know that I don't need to take the colors for granted. And I just do it for visual purpose, for visual confluence. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah, now we can use this, is what I use from time to time, is basically to filter out some noise. You know what I mean? And then you can clearly have a good overview on where potentially volume is resting. Does that mean that price will go to these volumes? No, it's not. That's not what the market does. The market never hunts. People say that price always goes to where the liquidity is, but that's not actually true. It just looks like that, right? Price goes into the direction of least resistance. That's what price does. Right? Price always moves into the direction with the least resistance. We are market participants. We buy market, and we buy into the other side. People sitting in the books, liquidity from the order books, right? Bids or asks. If I want to buy market, I'm going to fill an ask. Yes, right? If this ask is 10 BTC and I want to buy 20 BTC, price is going to move. Right? If this limit order is 10 and I buy 5, price is not going to move. It's absorbed. Right? How do we manipulate resistance? Well, placing more limit orders or having more market volume. That's how price moves and nothing else, right? There's nobody that's basically sitting with a glass looking at stop losses and liquid. It doesn't work like that. Price moves organically, and it basically, goes in the direction where the least resistance is. Simple as that. Okay, so this you can change the color map if you want. I like plasma. You could use what's going on here? You could use Viridis. You can actually also say you can clearly see that these maps are basically made just to look cool, right? Is it this then like a Fugazi, a Wazi, a Woozy? No, it's not. These are gonna give you ideas of where historical how can I basically give a good word for these things? Because a lot of people call it like, the reason why they call it liquidation heat maps is because we have these leverages here, right? Because we offset price based on a leverage, right? And most of the time it's gonna line up very well. The reason why is because if you place an order, if you in futures, right, and you place here, you're gonna long here at this level, for example, 10,000, right? I hope this is gonna explain it to you what I mean here. You're gonna basically put your stop loss somewhere, right? You're gonna put it somewhere. Whether you're gonna place your stop loss, most of the time, you're not even gonna take care of risk-reward ratio. You're just gonna say fuck all, and you're just gonna put it about beneath some kind of a wick or a body or something, or like a big level. There you're gonna place your stop, right? The same thing happens if you don't place a stop and you just go futures long. You're gonna have you're gonna be liquidated somewhere based on your leverage, right? And these leverages you pick, 25% or 500x or whatever degen you are, you know what I mean? That level is gonna be somewhere below, depending, right? The higher you go, the lower the level is gonna be. So why does this liquidation heat maps kind of work is because where you place your stop loss sometimes is very close to where where you're gonna get liquidated. If you know what I mean, is gonna where we calculate these levels are gonna be somewhat lining up with where normal people also just buy their spot people place their stop losses, for example. Right? That's what I know. I don't think so. That's gonna tell you, but that's what I know, right? That's that. So you're gonna have these clusters of, I call it liquidity, where price is not gonna go to there. It's just sensitive. There was something before, right? There was something before. In the beginning, we made this liquidation heat map where we actually used, in my opinion, way better ways to calculate these things, but people didn't like it. Why did people like it? Because it didn't make sense for them. That's pretty weird, right? So people are used to watching these liquidation heat maps from, what the fuck is this? People are basically, and that was basically one of the biggest problems I had of building this platform, is that people are used watching at Trading Different or CoinGlass, and they see the liquidation heat maps. And then I come in and said, okay, I don't really think that's a good calculation. It's predictable. It's a prediction-based algorithm, and I think I can basically do it way better based on my knowledge. That's what I did. Made it based on the open interest, made it based on net long, net short, and all that stuff to get a real good indication of where the liquidity really is going to be. But people didn't like that because it looked different. It didn't look the same. And yeah. So that's why we refactored our liquidation heat map into a more basic model. That's what you see on CoinGlass or how it's called, high block and all these algorithms, right? Because we are using the exact same fucking thing. There is no special snowflake. The only reason why these things look different from time to time is because you can manipulate this. You know what I mean? You can do what you want. You can even just make this 50,000. You know, I can make it. I can manipulate it that there is no brightness at all, right? So that's why you need to take these, and that's actually everywhere. It's a heat map. It's everything you can color grade with a grain of salt, and you need to look at that with a bit of a common sense. And that's why I'm explaining it, how it's getting calculated, right? It's getting calculated on the maximum and the minimum volume bin, the size that we found in the history of the data we have in memory here at this point in time. And the moment you're gonna alter the maximum size just to make it look good, to make it look more brighter, you're basically lying, you know. But it makes more sense because now you see you can see the cluster better. Like, okay, this area is gonna be sensitive. You know what I mean? It's gonna have a reaction because previous lows, liquidations levels, and stop losses are kinda in this neighborhood, and this can trigger. Does that mean they are still there? Well, that's the big concept. That's the big problem, right? Does that mean they are still there? But it's always going to be sensitive. You know what I mean? Because if you have a POC or a value area high or low, that was back in time. A POC from 2 months ago was 2 months ago. Does that mean is the volume still there? No, it was 2 months ago. But still the POC is sensitive. Still the level is sensitive. Even though it was 2 months ago, it's still sensitive. Nobody is there anymore. It's 2 months ago. You know what I mean? That's how the market works. It's always sensitive around prices. All right? That's how you make it cool. That's how you make it nice. You can try whatever you want. For example, Viridis, you can use hot. I like hot as well. Give you good levels here. I think we have this new one as well. Which basically filters out a lot of stuff for you because I was sick and tired of doing it manually. Gives you more of these things. And you don't need to know more, right? You don't need to see this is all noise. If you can just have a good feeling of, okay, you know what I mean? It's like, it gives a reaction. You know what I mean? Hey, if it works, innit? Liquidations. In my opinion, nice. Could give you an idea of sensitive areas, sensitive zones. Does that mean it's going to reverse there? No. Does that mean it's going to go there? Also no. But most of the time, it will give you something. And it's the same thing with everything in trading, right? Nothing is guaranteed, right? Nothing is guaranteed until it happened, you know? All right, that's that. Any questions about this? What do we have next? I think we're almost there. Trading tips. Trading tips is coming in. Those balloons, I know, I think if I do party, the balloons come. Look at that. Yay! Yes! Party. If I do this, it's going to be a thumbs up. Whoa! Woo! Le gros party! Nice. Hey! How do you do that? Who's responsible for this? What kind of a program is that? Is that native Mac? Is it some kind of it would be nice if you can add gradients. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do. You're gonna add your own gradients. Believe me. But just seeing this red, you know what I mean? I can do this now. It's not red anymore. So what's wrong and what's right? And that's maybe my mistake, that we give you the complete option of setting bin sizes, altering the min and max volumes, sizes, because that opens up for wrong configured heat maps, in my opinion. But it also gives you the power of, when you really understand how these things work, it gives you the power of quickly setting it to somewhere that makes sense for you, right? So it's a trade-off. That's why I want to make this video. I want to make this stream to teach you about these things, so you know that what happens behind the scenes. So you can say, hey, okay, it's fine. It does not mean that this is fucking red. We're gonna go to zero. You know what I mean? All right, trading tips. So I'm basically a bit against teaching people how to trade because, like I said, I'm not a professional trader. Right? I traded before. I'm not a trader because trading is a profession. It's a profession, and it's a profession just like any other profession. And it's not because, just like with each profession, you can make money. You know what I mean? And trading seems nice. It's nice. It's cool. You're free. You're at your computer. You can watch. You can play RuneScape at the same time. You can do whatever you want. It's chill. It's this lifestyle. It's cool. But why are most people? And I don't like if I basically go through all my crypto Twitter. What I see all the time, even from big accounts, it's like that. I think, man, how is this? How is this even possible? And the thing is that. The problem with trading is, what you need to understand is that it's actually it's super simple. But the problem is that there is so many, you can do so many things that mean the same thing, that you're basically setting yourself up for failure. Because the only thing you need to do, and I swear to God, this is real talk, right? The only thing you need to do, and it does not need to be complicated, is do the same thing over and over and over again, right? That's the only thing, and that's where I can. Everybody of you is basically wrong because it's fucking boring, right? So if you take a career of trading, and this is super important, right? If you have this in 5 years, right? How do you measure progression? How do you do that? Right? How do you measure progression? Because it's actually very easy, and that's what's happening a lot of on crypto Twitter, is that somebody, especially with these meme coins, and then these coins can go suddenly from, they could do a 10x, they could even do a 100x, or they can even do a 1000x, and then if you're lucky, you make a lot of money, but that's not going to work over the span of 5 years, right? So you cannot measure progress, and you can already see what's happening back in the day. Crypto, even like these BTC, even like the second, how do you call it, majors, or ETH, even Cardano and all this stuff, and Atom, and back in the day, they could go like 10, 50x, but not anymore. These times has changed. You know what I mean? These times completely changed. So it's very important right now to become more of a professional trade. What people do in Forex and TradeFi, you don't have the exponential these coins. Sometimes there are rallies, right? There are rallies, but it's never going to be a 10x, 100x. So you need to be very consistent to make somewhat of a money there. And the problem is that you cannot measure your progression over these months or years, or I don't know how long you're busy, is because you never do the same thing. Right? So you need to basically say, if you're a pro trader, you could also be a pro sprinter. If you're a pro sprinter, what do you do? How do you get better? Right? How do you get better? It's very simple. You train, you sprint, the same thing, the same position, and you go as hard as you can, and you measure 10 seconds. Okay, cool. Next time, 9.8 seconds. Cool. The next time, it's going to be maybe 11. Because you're never always going to be faster as your previous time. But if you sprint long enough and you measure, you can basically know if you need to do something about your supplements. Maybe your technique is not good. Maybe, I don't know, technique, cardiovascularity, maybe missing muscle mass, But over time, over the course of years, 2 years, you're going to see progression. You can only make progression if you can measure. And the problem is, you guys, you don't do that. You don't fucking do that. Because what you do is you watch all these fucking videos from all these people, and you need to use TPU, and you need to use this and that, and New York Open session reversal sweep, and this and that, and you're all trying that. And it doesn't work out, and you switch to something else, and it doesn't work out, and you switch to something else. How the fuck can you measure? How can you measure your progression? You can't. Simple as that. So it's never gonna work out. You need to take the most simple strategy there can be, right? You need to take the most simple strategy. It could be a super simple strategy, because it's actually not about, I think the most alpha you're gonna find is to just do the same thing and stick to your fucking plan. You know what I mean? And just be more right than wrong. Just like be 60%, 55% is good enough. And if you do the same thing over the years, you're going to be way more better. You're going to basically know like when's the best time to execute, when it's not, and so on and so on. So basically, there are people that I know, right? There are people that I know, they use a simple moving average. They use a couple of moving averages, right? A couple of moving averages only on BTC, and they use that to just trade. Only that. For years. Just that. Simple as it is. As simple as it is. Even this, for example, I can swear to God, do this. But the thing is, Anthony, why don't you do that? Because I can't. It's just fucking boring, bro. You know what I mean? I'm gonna sit here waiting till my fucking my setup is there. Yes, it's setup time, and now I'm gonna place it and hope I'm right. Because if I'm gonna do this for 15 years, the same setup, I'm going to make profit. That's not what I want, right? That's what I said. Some people are sprinters. Some people are soccer players. Some people are professional fucking League of Legends players. And some people are programmers, businessmen, traders. It needs to fit you. You know what I mean? So what you could do, it's super simple. You just use a VPSV. You know what I mean? And you just trade fucking range. You just trade the fucking range all the time on BTC or on whatever coin. At a certain point in time, for example, check. New York Opens. New York Opens. Check that. There's always some New York reversal going on inside of these value area highs, lows. Just play these ranges and do that all the fucking time. Every time, do only this strategy. And if you do this long enough, I can swear to God, you're gonna see when it's gonna work out. You're gonna see when it's not gonna. It's not always gonna work out, but pretty sure you can be profitable with that. The problem is, it's going to be super boring, and you're not going to make a lot of money in the beginning, because the real alpha sits in the fact that you cannot put size here, right? You don't have size here. What is your size? What are you trading with? With your risk reward and your bankroll. What are you trading with here? I don't know. I don't know your money. But it's not going to be a lot, right? So each trade, what are you gonna make? If you're really, really correct with your with your RR, what are you gonna make? You don't need to tell it to me. But I know it's not gonna be much. And that's the problem. You're already not using risk reward. You already did some gamble, some scalp gamble because you thought it was nice, and you were liquidated and you have nothing anymore. This is fine. Here. This is year 1. This is year 2, for example, right? So if you always do the same thing, and it means that the same thing, it could start with something simple. It could start with just playing the range with the value area, with some kind of a volume tool, and just play POC and play the range, right? But later on, you can incorporate. If you do the same thing, you can incorporate more into it. You know what I mean? You can perfectionize your exit, because an entry is always easy in trading. Entry, super easy. Spotting the trend, super easy. What's hard? Your exit. You know what I mean? You're either gonna exit too soon, you're either gonna exit too late, or you're gonna exit too late, but basically means you're gonna stop out. You know? That's basically what it is. It's always too late. Not stopped out, you just didn't fucking exit the fucking market. You know what I mean? You need to exit here. You just, okay, I'm gonna wait. Oh yes, I'm gonna wait. Oh fuck. And then here you go, oh, I'm gonna cut here. Oh yes, I made $50. And price goes back up and you're so fucking annoyed because you let it go, bro. Let it just go. It's like poker. You have your strategy. If you're gonna enter here and exit here, do that. You know what I mean? Don't listen to these idiots like, oh, you need to put more to your winners and you need to cut your loss. No, just do the same thing over and over so you can measure. You can measure, brother. That's what you need to do. But at a certain point of time, you're gonna put more size behind it, right? You cannot make a lot of money because you cannot put size behind it. Yeah, but I can use a lot of leverage, Anthony. No, it's not. I'm fucking dying here. I'm sticking in nothingness. I'm choking in nothingness. What's going on here? So, you cannot just use 100x just because you only have $500 just to put some size behind your trade. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Size comes over time. And the moment you have a good strategy, something that works most of the time, at a certain point of time, you can put size behind it, and that's where the thing's gonna get fun, right? That's where trading is gonna get fun. You know what I mean? If you have a lot of money and you see a good, and I do that from time to time. I swear to God, I do that from time to time. I see a good opportunity, and I post them on Twitter as well. If I take a trade, if I think it's a good opportunity, just make a trade and put some good size behind it, and that's it. You know what I mean? All right. Simple to start. I swear. Just do it, guys. Do it for 1 month. I swear. Pick something simple. Why am I doing here? Pick really something simple because it does not need to be complex. I know if you watch these traders on YouTube and on Twitter, I understand with their reversals and breaker brokes and it's always the same thing, right? It's different. It's basically different explanations, different namings for the same concept. Volume and price, the same thing. You know what I mean? It's always the same. It's just differently. It's made complex, so you feel confused. So you buy the course, and yeah, this vicious rabbit hole you're probably in. I understand. Keep it fucking simple, right? But why is this brush? But just make sure. Pick one coin. Pick BTC, for example, because it doesn't matter anymore, right? If you're gonna bet on another meme coin, that's not gonna work out, right? Pick something, one coin. ETH. For example, I have a friend that does XRP. He does fucking XRP. He bought a house with just XRP profits. I swear to God. I'm not lying. I swear I was not lying. He was on my marriage. CapCheck was there as well. Ask him. In my opinion, trading ranges, safe. I need to be careful what I say, but also kind of what predictability and easy, right? The moment is, the more you're gonna do these ranges, right? The more you're gonna learn when they're gonna work out, at what time. Most of the time they're gonna work out, what time of the week, because that's very important. But I would not talk about it yet. Just try to open up a VPSV. Let's take a 30. Let's do a 50-minute chart. Let's delete this liquidation map. It's not going to help you. You take this. You put a decent number of a decent number of ticks in. That's actually too much. That's 800 or something. Boom. Right. That's maybe could be maybe too much. Doesn't really matter. Pick something like this, right? Something like that. And try to just trade around these levels, around a very high, into a puck, into a val. You can actually do 2 exits, into a puck. Try that. You know what I mean? I swear to God, it's going to change your life. And only that. And try to do it at New York Open. I swear to God. Do that for 1 month. You're probably not going to have a lot of trades, but that's something you can learn in the future. It's like, it's just easy, guys. It's just for you guys way more easier to understand what's going on in the market. You just focus on one ticker and on one kind of a setup. I know it's super boring, but you're gonna be a way better trader. I promise. And after that, it's gonna make more sense what other people say. It's gonna make more sense to you what other people say on Twitter. Like you're going, hey, wait a minute. What this guy is explaining is actually just this. I saw it already happen in the market and yada, 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 yada. He's going to learn more. But if you're just going to hop scallop just because you think it's going higher, you're not going to learn anything, right? You know what I mean? Or even use, I don't have EMAs. They will come with scripting very soon. But you can just use an MA or something, like a couple of MAs and just see when the trend reversals, and just try to take that into some kind of an old book or an old val. And if there is no conflict, you can actually use a V or even VWAPs, guys, or even VWAP. I swear to God, if you have a VWAP, what you can do with just only the VWAP at certain points in time, if you learn that how people react at this thing, it's like, bro, this is crazy. It's just a VWAP, but you need to do the same thing over and over, you know what I mean? And just find whenever it makes most sense. Like these New York reversals are always nice. And if it lines up with a VWAP, and then you can put, if you enter here and you don't know when to exit on a val high, put a Fibonacci into it, because that's good. Fibonacci, just to find an exit or something, just to get some number, because God knows what that actually does. I would do that, and that's gonna work. I swear to God. If you're gonna be making your money from that, that's something else. That's gonna take some time. But don't forget, a pro trader is just like a pro something else. You need to train and measure. Very important. It's not easy, guys. It's that, like, I don't even understand, like, all these guys on fucking Instagram. I open up my phone, it's like, hey, your trading classes, copy trade. What? I'm not gonna copy a fucking idiot, you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. It really doesn't work. It's just not. There is also no hidden mechanics on the market. There is no such thing as institutions that will basically know that your stop is here and they will come and hunt it. They don't know, bro. They don't fucking care. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, bro. The only thing you need to do is just catch some kind of a good reversal. You know what I mean? Find some kind of a good entry with a VWAP, with a volume profile or something. It does not work always. But you can certainly spot times where the probability is high, and it's a very simple concept because it's nothing to confuse about. It is nothing to confuse, right? You could basically, I don't know, this is like a stupid thing. I'm not gonna say you need to do it, but like you could, if you enter here, why not? You know what I mean? It's you know, like it's like, you know, I'm not a trader, and I think it's difficult to teach, but it's like, why would this not be a good... I don't know, I need to investigate this more, because I'm not this thing, but why could this be not a trade you place... what's going on with this stupid fucking brush here? Why could this not be a trade you place here from this VWAP into this value area high? You know what I mean? Why would this be a bad trade? I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, okay, no problem, we do it again. And we do it again. And now we're going to see, okay, when does it not work? Okay, if I do it 4 hours after New York Open, it's not going to work anymore. There is no volume. Open up a fucking indicator, for example, delta volume. Is there volume here? No, it's not. So it's not going to fucking work out. You know, here is volume. So this could be you know, like all these small little things can give you extra confluence. And at a certain point of time, you're going to make your own system. Okay, if we are just after New York Open or Asian session, whatever you trade, if we are just after New York Open and price is trading into a POC with a VWAP and there is some volume and this, I will take the trade and my exit is going to be value area high or Fibonacci retracement, depending on your strategy. What's going to be the best? I don't know. Do it 20 times, measure it and see what works. It doesn't work. That doesn't work. You're never going to do that again, you know? But do the same thing. All over, always the same time. And then you can measure and you can learn, and it's probably gonna work because that's how you need to do it. That's how a poker player does its thing. You know what I mean? It's always the same thing for a long time. All right? Yes. Financial advice. No, it's not. It's logic. Because it's not. There is no magic thing. You know what I mean? There's no magic thing. There is nothing. It doesn't happen. But all these tools, what the hell's going on? What is this? Oh, it's my thing. But all these tools help you. But you don't need to put them all on your screen just yet. You know what I mean? You don't need to do it just yet. You start simple. Then you can add a footprint. Why would you have a footprint? Because you know that this is your setup. You know that your setup is... You know that your setup is coming. Right? But now you don't know, like, okay, where do I enter here? Is this good? Is this going to be my entry? Are we not going to fall through here? Are we going to get absorbed here around there? We don't know. You know what I mean? That's when, after you have some experience of, are we basically nearing my setup? Is this the moment? Well, then you can open up a footprint to check what's going on. You can open up a heat map to lay below your footprint to see, are we getting absorbed? Are these orders getting filled? Are we just blasting through like a madman? No, we're getting absorbed on this heat map. That's GG. Are we getting absorbed again? Oh, that's good. We are at this VWAP. Let's fucking go. And you just enter your trade based on your risk to reward. You know what I mean? And you enter some kind of a level. Which level? Nobody knows. What's your best bet? Maybe this value area high. It's a fucking thing for something, right? Somebody invented this thing. So this might be a good TP. If you do not know, if you want to, you always use Fibonacci. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how it works. It doesn't really matter because it always works. I need to draw it the other side. You know what I mean? That's how good of a trader am I. Fibonacci. This is weird, bro. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. You can actually draw it whatever you want, like this. Boom, and then you can actually pick some fucking number. It's Fibonacci. It's a golden ratio for something. It works. Just to give you an idea. You know what I mean? I'm still flabbergasted how the golden ratio actually works because it just... You can pick, like... It's what they call, like, chaos theory. It's so... It's random, it's how do we call it? It's organized randomness. If you take any kind of statistical output that's being produced by machines or human beings or living organisms, and you pick any kind of a signal that's being produced over time, and you plot that signal on some kind of a thing, Fibonacci will always line up somehow. And that's weird, isn't it? I think that's weird. And because the market is actually predictable randomness, you're going to have the same thing. And that's why these Fibonaccis are always good as an exit. If you do not know where to exit, a Fibonacci extension could be nice because there is a probability that the predictable randomness will be there. You know, what else are you gonna pick? Let us be honest. If we enter here in our trade, where the fuck we gonna exit? Here, this high maybe. You know what I mean? Do you know? I don't know. I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's a rectangle, bro. We don't know, right? We don't know what's going to happen. So I would target a very, very high, which lines up with the 61%. Maybe you place your stop loss here and go further. But you know what I mean? If you're just placing your trade programmatically, like you just place it in the books and you go swimming, you know what I mean? I would just always take this very, very high as a target and just call it a day. You know what I mean? Of this high as well, but that's weird. We don't ever know, right? Okay, or this high, you see, or this high. You know what I mean? That's trading. It can be so complex as you make it, and that's why I don't think about it. And I just said, fuck it, here, call it a day, right? And if I do this 20,000 times and I see that I'm always basically this is not good enough in these circumstances, I can adjust my strategy and say, okay, fuck it, I'm going to do 75% take profit here and 25% I'm going to do something else. Hey, all right, that's it. Any more questions? Otherwise, I need some nicotine. You got 3 more highs before. Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, right? What's it going to be? That's trading. That's why it's so complex, but it's not. It's because you make it complex. And most of the time, it's your greed. It's your greed. Because I can swear to God, if you are already a millionaire and you need to make trades, you're going to completely trade differently. Completely. You're going to completely trade differently because it doesn't matter anymore. You're just going to be professional. Because if you are a sprinter, like I told before, or you are something else, like, I don't know, you're a basketballer or there is nothing on the line. You know what I mean? You're not going to sprint and you're going to lose 100K, right? So you can do your profession professionally. I mean, you cannot do that with trading because you're overextended all the time. So you're always nervous. You know what I mean? And you're always greedy. That's the human nature of gambling. People always want more, more, and more because hope. There is always hope. What if? You know what I mean? What if I place this trade at 500x, all my fucking pension and all my child's money, and I do a 100x? What if? You know what I mean? You're delusional. You know what I mean? Don't do it. HFG, I'm looking at you, bro. I'm looking at you. Take it easy, bros. I swear to God. And step up. Add more tools to the process as we go. And you're going to learn. You're going to learn. You're going to learn over time. But you need to have the basics first. And that's doing something the exact same time, the exact same way for a very long time. That's the first thing you need to learn. It's the same thing with fitness. How you get jacked, you do the same thing, the same food intakes, the same caloric intakes, the same exercises every fucking day. You know what I mean? For a very long time. That's how you become good at something. Exact same thing here. But you need to make sure, and that's the most important thing before we end the stream, is that it's measurable. If you cannot measure progression, you cannot improve. So if you're always doing something different, you cannot measure, you cannot improve. Okay? It doesn't matter who you follow. Order flow, guys, but just stick to a strategy. You know what I mean? Stick to strategy. And that's what Twitter cannot do, eh? They cannot do it because they're always the same thing. They're always coming up with every fucking week it's something else. It's, oh yeah, if price goes here, if price in this, we're gonna reclaim this range. This is so fucking, these guys do not trade, bros. I swear to God, even big accounts, I can guarantee you this on a piece of paper. Because the same guys sitting in my DMs asking me fucking questions. 200, 500K accounts, bro, I swear to God. They don't know. They don't place trades as well, you know what I mean? This is just like, place here and we're going to reclaim. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's just simple, you know, it's just... There are good ones, like there are like the people from the lab, and there are some other good traders as well that really just live trade. Like I think, what's his name? What's this guy? I really think is good. I don't know. It's a Chinese. It's not a Chinese guy, but it's like. God damn it! What's his name? Floris. Not Floris. God damn it! Normally he's always is on my wall all the time. Not anymore. Can I spot him? He's a blue guy. He's doing good. He's live streaming. It's nice. He comes up with some nice strategies or main. That's actually I need to talk about this. That's why ICT, and this is actually very controversial because I don't believe in ICT, but I believe in ICT not because the concept of smart money and market makers and institutional candles, Follies, that's him, Follies. follies. I don't believe in ICT like that. The only reason why Michael is a fucking genius with ICT is because ICT, guys, listen, and this is so important. Clip this shit. This is the most important thing that anybody has ever told to you. The only reason why ICT is good, and actually, in my opinion, very good, is not because of institutional money and breaker blocks and candles and liquidity hunts, because that doesn't exist, but because you do the same thing every single time. You have a playbook. You have the same playbook. He teaches you a playbook, and he teaches you that playbook to take that at certain moments in time. Certain condition needs to be met. He teaches you a very simple concept as first. A very simple concepts for ICT with the breaker block, and if that happens, you take the trade. You draw your FIP, you find your extension, and this is your take profit. And that's it. That's ICT. And the reason why I think this is very good to learn is because it's the same fucking concept all over and all over again, and you can measure it, you can tweak it, you can extend it. It's amazing. It's basically what Trader Main does. I think Follies as well. And then you're gonna understand these concepts into, for example, certain times, like a New York reverse, all that stuff. But that's for later. I swear to God. I think that's why I really love it, because Michael teaches you like this. I think his name is Michael. He teaches you this one concept, this one thing, and he teaches you how to pinpoint trade that. It doesn't matter what the terminology is. A breaker block and this, it's basically all volume. It's all volume at a certain price at a certain point in time. That's the only thing it is, right? And but it's the how do you call it? It's the deterministic setup you're always gonna take that's going to make you a better trader. Okay, good. Any more questions? God fucking damn it. It's super warm here, bro. Guys, how did you like the stream? Am I yapping too much? I'm a yapper. I'm the master yapper. I can sell dead cats, bro. I can sell dead cats, because if you use them as basically foil for planting flowers, you're gonna have the best flowers ever. If I needed to sell a dead cat, I would say, listen, okay, this is a dead cat. I know you don't need it, but you need it. Listen, you probably love plants. You always have the same problem. Your plants are basically too small. You need to give them way too much water. Guess what? You forget to give your plants water because you have no time. I get that, but you still want your plant, but you don't give it water, so it dies. If you buy this dead cat, because they know if that cat's basically this, if they start to basically break up their body, and you put your plant in that, you're gonna have the best plant, and you only need to give that plant water once in a month. Buy this cat right now, because she's already dead. What do you think? You see? I'm so much yap. I know I'm a yapper. Man. Man, that was a great stream. Great energy and great content. Thank you so much. So, yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. So, MMT, guys, you can join the Discord for free. You can always ask me stuff. I'm always open. I'm never hidden. And sometimes I can be a little bit sharp on the tongue, but that's just because I'm never angry or something. I just need to learn how to behave sometimes, you know. So what's coming up here? Well, the thing is, I'm making scripting, so we're gonna have gazillion of indicators coming, because we're gonna have scripting soon. I'm gonna do some cool stuff. You know what I mean? We're also gonna have trend reversal candles tick. I'm also looking into tick charts, advanced TPO charts, TPO saving composites, and maybe we are looking into TradeFi as well. You know. All right, guys, I'm going to dip them out. I'm going to sip some nicotine because I'm still addicted. You know what I mean? I'm going to quit very soon. But, guys, very important is, you know, I'm always saying that. I'm always saying the same thing. Guys, listen, tomorrow is never guaranteed. So if you wanna do something crazy today, you can do it because it could be your last. It could be mine. So that's why we always need to thank the people we love, our parents, our wives, our children, our friends, even people that we didn't see for such a long time. After stream, pick up the phone, call them and say you love them because, like I said, tomorrow is never promised. Not for them, not for me, but also not for you. That's why we need to basically take a big line of coke because you know what I mean? It could be our last one.